This video is presented by Audiobooks Now. They offer a selection of over 320,000 digital audiobooks that can be downloaded and/or streamed. In the description of, and as the pinned comment for this video, is a special link from me, Ryan Holman, to a 30-day free trial of Audiobooks Now, and also to get 50% off of your first audiobook. In 1997, G-Force started to compete in the Indy Racing League. They won their debut race, Orlando, with Eddie Cheever and his Cheever Racing team. G-Force went on to win that year's Indianapolis 500 with Arie Luyendyk and Treadway Racing and the series championship with Tony Stewart and Team Menard. The constructor continued to be competitive as they won at least one race each season through 2001. The year prior, they won a second 500 with Juan Pablo Montoya and Chip Ganassi Racing. In 2002, G-Force was bought by Panoz and, starting the next year, their Indy cars were badged as Panoz G-Force. They initially had success under the new ownership, as they won additional 500s in 2003 with Gilles Deferne and Team Penske, and 2004 with Buddy Rice and Rahal Letterman Racing, along with the 2003 Series Championship with Scott Dixon and Ganassi. However, their rival Dallara increased their amount of wins and teams using their cars. In 2005, G-Force was dropped from the name and Panoz only won twice, at Kentucky with Scott Sharp and Fernandez Motorsports and at Watkins Glen with Dixon and Ganassi. For 2006, only Rahal Letterman intended to use Panoz's full-time for their three-entry team, but they switched to only using them for road courses and street circuits after a disappointing 500. Danica Patrick finished 8th as the best for the constructor. Something that was done in 2006 by Ganassi and Fernandez was to use Panoz chassis at the road course and street circuit events, where they were superior to the Dallara. In fact, Ganassi won again at Watkins Glen with Dixon driving a Panoz. This was the 10th consecutive season where G-Force or Panoz won an IRL race. In 2007, the IRL mandated that a team only use one constructor. Panoz dropped support for their IRL program and concentrated on the rival Champ car, where they were the exclusive chassis. Despite having no manufacturer support, 4 teams would continue to use Panoz's. These are their stories. PDM Racing entered their ex-Ganassi Panoz at Indianapolis in 2007 for Jimmy Kite. They continued their streak of entering at least one IRL race each season since the league's debut in 1996. However, they had not finished in the top 10 since finishing 9th at Texas in 2001 with John Herb. Kite previously drove for PDM at the 2003 500 and finished 13th. He last raced in IndyCar in 2005. Additionally, team owner Paul Dialovich mortgaged his home to raise funds for their 500 entry. On Kite's first day of practice, he crashed due to a gearbox issue and damaged the left side of the team's only car. However, the damage was repaired and Kite made his first qualifying attempt on the third qualifying day. He had a 4-lap average speed of 214.528 miles per hour. This made Kite and PDM the slowest of the 32 qualifiers to that point. On bump day, Kite's speed was not quick enough to qualify. PDM was also getting to the point where they were close to reaching the mileage limit for their engine. Towards the end of the session, Kite made another attempt. He would have to go more than 218.922 miles per hour to bump Marty Roth from the field.
Get an idea on his warm-up lap. Here comes the green flag. 2:15 was his warm-up lap. There is the lap tracker now. That is Marty Roth's time, and he is behind already. The deeper it goes into the red, the worse it is for Jimmy Kite.
You can see the green throttle bar graph there. You can know that he's already on the throttle and completely on the throttle. Not much more a driver can do. Drive nice smooth lines as he's doing from the outside going into turn 3, right down to the apex and back out to the wall in the short chute like he's doing. But Marty, as you mentioned, that red line is getting worse the further he goes through that lap.
Coming by the first time, we'll see as he gets the first lap. The speed 214.7, nowhere near.
And as Paul Dialovich grabs the yellow flag, which is a signal that he's ready to call the run off, I'm not sure there's enough time to actually bring him in, make any further adjustments on the car, and send him back out because the speed is off. And now what he's doing probably smartly, he's knowing that he does not have the speed for it, so he's not going to leave his driver out there and put him at any further risk.
Well, there may not be any sleep for these two gentlemen. What a difficult day, and this is the the heartbreak, Paul, of Indianapolis sometimes. You've been here and you've experienced the highs of the Indianapolis 500. You've been here 30-plus years. Today, the lows of the Speedway. Can you maybe just put in perspective the disappointment?
Yeah, I just probably wasted, the talent of one of the finest drivers that ever come here. Because, our car wasn't up to speed.
How about the investment that you put forth, Paul?
We'll find out when the dust settles down. It's long, it's tough, it's expensive, and we didn't make it, and I don't know. Might have a garage sale.
You made the comment to me earlier today that if it was easy, everyone would do it, and
this place isn't easy. It's not supposed to be easy. This place starts the 33 fastest, best prepared cars. Obviously, I missed. And I have to give credit to the crew. They persevered. They worked with us. We crashed. We came back. They never missed a beat. The car was mechanically excellent. It didn't have the right setup on it, and that's totally, my error, my fault. And it just seemed to waste the talent of Jimmy Kite.
Jimmy's had a difficult day as well, a difficult few days. It began with the accident on the very first day of practice that set you guys back. Obviously, you couldn't afford to be set back. How difficult has it been for you trying to chase the speed here the last few days?
It sucks when we trim the car out all we can get it trimmed out, and we just, we figured we had plenty in it yesterday, and we come out today and start trimming, and we just weren't gaining speed. We weren't scrubbing or anything. It's just that was about as free as that car's going to be. It just didn't seem to like going down the straightaways very much. I was running flat. I had a little lift early, but most of the laps in practice and everything's all flat. And I don't know. I hate it for guys that Jim and everybody at Z-Line Design. They came on expecting us to be here next Sunday, and we expected to be there too. It's it sucks having to watch that race on TV.
Can you talk about your relationship with Paul and what it means to have had an opportunity to come here, and then in addition to that, the disappointment of not being able to get his car in the field with everything he had on the line today?
I'm not going to say I feel like I let him down. We did all we could. It's just a shame. Since I ran for these guys in 03, we got along so well in 02 and 03. Paul would do anything in the world for me, and we've tried to put something together since 03, and it finally came together this year. I know he was really excited. I was extremely excited to get to work for him again and drive for him, and I don't know. It sucks for me, but I hate it for Paul because he's such a great guy, and really believes in me, and I know there's nothing else I could have done, but I still feel like I let him down. I just wish there was something else we could have done.
Well, it's the heartbreak of Indianapolis, Marty.
Lyodell Racing entered a pair of Panozes. The team's first entry was for Jacques Lazier, who had driven for them at the previous two 500s, the only two for the team, with a best finish of 16th in 2005. He likely was using the same Panoz he had used in 2005 and 2006, when Lazier finished 17th. He qualified for the 2007 race on the third day with an average speed of 219.409 miles per hour. This resulted in Lazier starting in 28th place. The race had its first caution period due to Johnny Andretti losing a mirror on lap 10. Lazier made a pit stop with the rest of the field. After exiting his pit stall, Lazier was lightly touched by Sarah Fisher. Then, Milgaduno crashed on lap 65, causing another caution. Lazier did not pit during it and moved up to 5th. After the lap 71 restart, Lazier remained close to the front of the field and remained ahead of 6th place Scott Sharp 3 laps later. After 79 laps, Lazier remained in 5th. He then pitted soon afterwards. On lap 107, Lazier's teammate Phil Giebler crashed, and during the ensuing caution time, it started to rain and the race was stopped after 113 of 200 laps with Lazier in 11th place. The race was eventually resumed and Lazier pitted with various other drivers before the restart. As drivers started to pit around lap 140, Lazier stayed on the track and led laps 144 and 145, with the hope that rain would return and end the race early. However, he had to pit to get enough fuel to continue. On the 150th lap, Roth crashed down and the race had a caution. While most drivers pitted, some, including Lazier, remained on the track, likely with the same motivation that Lazier had earlier to pit late. The race would restart with 44 laps remaining.
We're going back to green flag racing. Dario Franchitti in front.
You know, this is going to be interesting. There's a crash right off the bat, and look who's also involved in it, Tony Kanaan. Will he miss everything? He did a great job. He's got a flat right rear tire. Tells me that he probably got hit, and he's on pit road, but the pits will be closed. He'll be able to come in, replace the tire, go back and get into line, guys, and then come back after the pits are back open, and then he can actually do some more service work.
Well, you can see the safety crew working feverishly to try and get this cleaned up so we can get back to green flag racing. But as far as Tony Kanaan, we'll have to wait to see how he cycles through after what happened. Let's take another look, guys.
There's what's going on. The right-hand side of your screen, that is Jacques Lazier. He was going towards the wall. He's lost the right rear wheel coming off there, as you can see that. Now that wheel is lost from impact. Tony Kanaan with just a shower of sparks on the left-hand side because he's got a flat tire, and the bottom of the car is scraping along the ground.
As stated earlier, Playadell had a second entry for rookie Giebler. He was likely driving the same Panoz that Roger Yoshikawa drove for the team at the 2006 500, where he finished 16th. After passing his rookie test, Giebler made an attempt to qualify on the third day. The first 3 laps of it were all above 221 miles per hour, which would have easily qualified him for the race. Unfortunately, on the final lap, Giebler spun and crashed exiting turn 2. However, the team successfully repaired the car in time for bump day. Giebler returned to qualify with an average speed of 219.637 miles per hour, which was enough to bump Kite and get Giebler into the 33rd place, although he had the 30th quickest speed and was also the quickest rookie. During the caution for Duno's lap 65 crash, Giebler did not make a pit stop and advanced to 10th place. After the lap 71 restart, he dropped further into the top 20 from there, quickly. On lap 99, Andretti crashed and, consequently, there was a caution period. The race was restarted 8 laps later.
This could be the race. Here we go. Green flag is out. Marco Andretti. Can he hold off Tony Kanaan? We'll find out by the end of the front straightaway.
He's a sitting duck, guys. You got the car up front pushing the air for you. You take advantage with the draft. Off he goes. Danica Patrick's also having a look, and fourth there is Vitor Mira. So many times a second place finisher, and right behind him, the 27 of Dario Franchitti.
That is our 18th lead change. The yellow is out as we've got a problem in turn number 1. Another car hard into the wall, and that is Phil Giebler, the Indy Pro Series graduate, started 33rd in the field, had got all the way up to 20th, and now his day is over. And Tony Kanaan now takes over the race lead. He is the 18th lead change. This is an incredible race.
In May 2008, the team's owners, Jeff Brower, Bernie Moody, Gary Salee, and Susan Schaefer, sold it to William T. Kelsey and Eric Zimmerman, who renamed it to American Dream Motorsports. They entered the 500 with Giebler, who had won Rookie of the Year for 2007. Again, this time, American Dream was the only team using a Panoz. Giebler did not start practicing until the day before the final qualifying weekend.
We have a yellow crash on the course. Phil Giebler has found the wall also and seriously damaged the left side of that machine.
Those that were outside looking in at the close of business yesterday included A.J. Foyt IV, also Mario Dominguez, Max Pappas, and you can see also Phil Giebler. We're waiting for news on Phil's condition. Of course, he had a big crash yesterday, had a bruised lung. They kept him at Methodist Hospital overnight. Now, he will not attempt to qualify, is what we're hearing. In fact, he has not yet been discharged officially. We'll get the word to you as soon as we have it.
Team Leader Motorsports entered a single Panoz for the 2007 500. They had debuted at the previous year's event, with PJ Jones finishing 19th and Stefan Gregoire in 29th due to a handling issue. The team returned with Jones in 2007. For the second consecutive year, he had a tribute livery to his father, Parnelli. In 2006, the younger Jones drove a tribute car to his father's 1963 500 winning Watson Offenhauser. In 2007, his car looked like the Granatelli Pratt and Whitney car that Parnelli Jones finished 6th with in 1967. On the third qualifying day, he drove his son's car for some ceremonial laps. However, PJ Jones did not make an attempt that day. On bump day, Jones practiced his car, but stated the handling of it was poor. Additionally, Jones's best practice lap speed of 217.449 miles per hour was slower than the speed needed to get into the field.
Well, Vince, probably the toughest decision that a team ever has to make, and the most difficult decision for a driver, has now been made by car number 40. With 2 laps left on their engine lease, and that's well over the amount of laps that they purchased on a second weekend, courtesy of Honda's good nature. And knowing that they were short by 6 miles an hour, P.J. Jones has decided, in concert with his car owner, rather than chance injury or destroying this car, he is going to get out and wait until 2008 to try and live his dream. This is probably one of the most difficult decisions, and I'm going to try and get a comment here from PJ. Get the helmet off. If you can describe for people that haven't been put in a decision-making process like you just had to make, just how difficult it was to process all that was being told you and know that you only had 2 laps left on the bonus laps that you got from Honda, and having to say, guys, we can't do this.
Well, that was difficult. I mean, to miss the Indy 500, I mean, obviously I grew up here, but it's better than busting your butt, and that's where we were headed. I mean, I almost hit outside turn 2 just almost pushed up into it, and we just, we got the car, late last week, or, when we started really working on it, and we've had some struggles this week. I mean, we've had things that 8 years of IndyCar racing I haven't had happen, scales off, some geometry issues, and just stuff that has really hurt us. And then to, plop on top of everything, the mileage on the engine and being restricted by that, it's difficult. We haven't been able to go out and just run all day and try to hammer it and get it right, And so, we're being 4 miles an hour off. I mean, Ken and I talked about it. I mean, obviously you don't want to give up, but I don't want to, take a trip to Methodist either, and I don't want to hurt his car. I was more worried about that. I mean, obviously he has a lot at stake here, so difficult. I mean, good spot.
It was laid on the line to you, and Chris Paulson was really the last man in trying to plead with you about this, and it sounds to me like it wasn't about as much you busting your butt as it was where this team is financially.
Well, absolutely, and I mean, it's just, you got 30 minutes to make up 4 mile an hour. We haven't hit it. We just haven't hit it. We've had some help from some good teams, and they've come and helped us. And every time we've had that, we found some things that have helped us, and things that were wrong with the race car. But it's like we don't know that there's not something else wrong. Right. And my gut feeling tells me there's something else wrong, because I've done this quite a bit, and when the car's not comfortable, and usually, I mean, I know Richie Hearn and Davey Hamlin, they got out of the cars at their qualifying. It was like, hey, the thing was stuck, no big deal. And I'm running 214. My fingernails are white. So
all right, let me ask you this: how hard are the next 365 days going to be for P.J. Jones?
Well, they're tough. I mean, coming in here with a small team and a limited budget is going to be tough. I mean, I want to run here. I want to run here with a big team and, be able to really go after it. And, you look at Jimmy Kite. I mean, he's a good race car driver. And the only reason he's not in this race is because he doesn't have the right equipment. So, I mean, it's the same thing. It's all about equipment.
Chastain Motorsports returned to the IRL after previously competing in it in 1997 and 1998. During which time they got a best finish of second at Pikes Peak in the former year with Greg Waugh, who would be their driver for the 2007 500. Unfortunately, 2 days before the second qualifying weekend, Greg Waugh crashed and fractured his vertebrae and was not medically cleared to race. Roberto Moreno became the new driver for the team. He qualified on the third day with an average speed of 216.229 miles per hour, which put him in 31st place. On bump day, both Richie Hearn and Giebler went quicker than Moreno, putting him at risk of being bumped from the field. As a result, Chastain withdrew Moreno's spin. He requalified with an average speed of 220.299 miles per hour, placing him in 31st. Again, this was the 27th fastest speed in the field. By lap 34, leader Helio Castroneves had lapped Moreno, who was in 32nd place.
She can adjust her front sway bar, she can adjust her cross wedge. She might have that totally maxed out already. If that's the case, oh, we got a caution.
Car into the wall here on lap 37, and you saw it from the onboard. It is the 77 of Roberto Moreno. So Roberto, who had made such an amazing run, withdrawing the car and getting back in on the last day, securing his spot is now out of the race. So our second caution comes out here on lap 37. Roberto, the wheel off means he is okay. Take another look at it.
See, he's up on the high side, allowing all the other cars to go through. He's just a little bit high off into that gray area, and it looks like the car just gets sucked up into the gray and stays there. Remember, you have to try and keep down on the black and keep where the rubber is. That's where you're going to get a lot of grip. He's just in that gray area and puts his Chastain Motorsport car into the safer barrier there. Now, that's a huge impact, guys. He'll be all right. He'll step out of that, but a lot of damage to the race car.
Between the 2 years, 4 teams, and combined 6 entries, it was not an overall good representation for what had been a strong constructor in the IRL